Yo, what up? It's Trey with Melody Muse, and this is part 4 of the trap series. And in this one, I'm going to be covering hi hats and open hats. So I'm going to keep this one short and simple, like the previous videos. So there's about 4 or 5 things that you need to remember. Obviously, sound selection, like I went over in snares, super important. I think this is probably the most important thing when it comes to hi hats, because if you have a bad hi hat, the drums are going to sound like ass. 2 is adding some bounce with some rolls. And number 3 is layering. And when I say layer, I mean layering differently than when I mentioned it in snares. So, first thing is sound selection. You're going to want a trap hi hat, something pretty short and clicky, not something like this. That's not going to work for trap. I mean, you could load this up and shorten it up and make it more clicky, but just start with the trap hi hat. Here's some other sounds that you can look at. Let me see where we at. Hi hats. I mean, you can find tons of hi hats anywhere. BusyWorks Beats has some good kits. Producer Grind has amazing kits. Bro Beats has some decent kits. This is a good one. Simple. I mean, short hi hats are gonna work for trap. Now, number 2 is adding some bounce. So that's the basic one. Here's some bounce. All right, just a little bit of balance. That's simple. Now, hi hat rolls. Pretty simple. It's going to be a lot like the snares video. You can add rolls pretty much anywhere, but I say the most or the best place is going to be on the 4 count, the 5 count, and the 6 count, and even the 8 count. So let me add one, add a roll. Like I said, Alt U. Just adjust the velocity so it's not super robotic. You could add one at the very start. I mean, adding rolls is pretty simple and straightforward. It's really just finding the right spots to add them. Personally, I know Metro Boomin says to start with the drums, but for me, if I start with the melody, it is a lot easier to add drums and snare rolls and put the 808s where they need to be when I have the melody. So you can do with that information as you will. I'm not going to tell you don't listen to Metro Boomin because he's where he's at. So do what works for you. Now, the next thing I said was layering. And when I mean layering, I don't mean adding another hi hat, which you could do. But when I mean layering is to add notes in different octaves and different notes. And it's going to be like another instrument. Excuse me. All right, super simple. I mean, the layering is pretty self-explanatory, but add some different rhythms. I mean, you can put the hi-hats in the snare spots, the 4N and the 5N. Super simple. So yeah, rolls. adding a little bit of bounce and adding some layers. You can go up an octave, down an octave, whatever it is. Just spice up your hi-hats. A lot of times you'll even hear two completely different hi-hat rhythms together in one song, and it'll sound really good. So if you want to listen to an example of that, listen to Fuck You Mean by Gunna and turn the volume all the way up and listen to the two different hi-hat rhythms. I can't explain that to you in words, but if you go and listen to that song, you'll understand what I'm saying. So for hi-hats, that's about it. I am going to do a little bit on open hats. So open up a open hat really quick. Open hats are going to be a lot like snares, and you can even kind of use them in the same spots as a 808 or a kick. So where's my open hat? And I'll just show you a couple places that you could put them. Bam. All right. So when it comes to open hats, you can put them in a lot of spots. The best spot to put an open hat is going to be right here on the 2 and. That's always going to be the best spot. It will always sound good. Now, two more places that you can put them, or three places actually, is you put them on the 1. Another place you can put them is on the 4. It's going to be that 808 rhythm, boom, boom, right? And I think the last place that you really could put them that it's going to sound good is if you want to put them in the spot where you put the bouncy snares. Let me take all the other ones out so you could actually hear what it sounds like. Open hats are pretty simple. I mean, they're really just like an accent for the drums. It is definitely one of my favorite drums to add. For some reason, it just sounds so good to me. So yeah, 2 and the best spot. They will always work there. Super simple. The 4, the 1. You can literally copy your 808 and put it on the open hat. Maybe take out a few notes and it will sound really good. And you can also change the notes. So let me just bring this one down so it's right. Open hat, super simple. Put them in the right spots and they will sound super good. Don't overdo it. Sometimes I will literally have one open hat in my 4-8 bar pattern, and it'll stand out and it'll fit perfectly. So like I said, all right, that's it for this video. I tried to keep it short, but this is going on 10 minutes now. So thank you for watching. Check out my Discord. Loads and loads of stuff on there.